Hello, Internet. I'm all terrific if you don't know. And if you don't know, this is my new old motorcycle. It is a 2015 Kawasaki Ninja 650 ABS. And this is my favorite motorcycle I've ever had. And that's saying a lot because I have owned a Zixer and an R6. I've owned faster motorcycles. They're faster. Let's talk about what's better in this video and why I chose this bike instead of my R6. I was trying to go fast, first of all, on the highway, and I did. I got over 120 miles an hour, but the cars kept getting in the way, and I released it earlier this week, talked a lot about it, but I didn't talk about everything. Some really important stuff, like why this over the R6? You know, I got so much to talk about, so let's just go. I love that sound. Not everybody does. It's not for everybody. And that's the thing I'm going to try to tell you guys is that. Hold on a second. That was just for emphasis and for fun. Let's do it without falling backwards. And that sound too. I don't know if you know this, but I used to own a 650 like this one. It was a 2009. This is a 2015, and I liked that bike so much that I decided I wanted to get another one, and I don't regret it. So I got a lot of people giving me flack, and I totally expected this. People saying, you don't own a 600 anymore. Why'd you get your R6? You don't have a leader bike. That makes this bike bad. There are so many things wrong with that, but I'm going to try to simplify it for you. The most important thing, you got to realize, it's totally opinion. Higher CCs does not make your bike better. It makes your bike faster. If faster is better to you, then great. That bike is better to you. If you're someone who likes to take a Grom up and out a street like this at 35 miles an hour, or if you're someone who likes to take a leader bike and go 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds on a 0.25 mile stretch of road, great, good for you. Because better is the opinion of the rider. And I've actually seen a lot of guys commenting on this bike saying they own 650s and this is their favorite bike, and I understand why. I mean, it happens to be my favorite. That doesn't mean it has to be a favorite or better for everybody else. Now, don't misunderstand. I love my R6. I think it's the best one I've ever owned. It's the best looking I've ever owned. This one doesn't beat those in my opinion, but it beats it in a lot of other categories because there's just more to a motorcycle than speed. There's just more to it than CCs. This used to be a road I love to speed on with my 650, so let's honor old times. I'm not going full speed because I'm worried about these tar snakes freaking everywhere. Never crashed because of a tar snake, but I have met little jukes and little slides on them, and they're freaking terrifying. I hate them. They're like stretches of sand essentially on the road. It's delightful. So let's talk about some positives of the R6. There is so much love about that bike. It's freaking gorgeous. It goes fast, and it was customized, you know, very well. But let's talk about it at its base too. Like, it's freaking great. I think it looks awesome. The cons of the R6: it's not as comfortable as this bike. That's not to say it's uncomfortable, but it's definitely not as comfortable. It was freaking expensive to insure, and that depends on who you are, I know, but for me, holy crap, guys, $350 a month? I put up with it for a while, but I was like, dude, I would rather die. I don't want to pay $350 a month. Now, let's put that aside. Let's say that it doesn't matter how much you're paying for insurance. There's a base price too. The R6 costs like, well, I should say, I want to say it costs double. I'm thinking of used ones. When it comes to like a new 650 or a new 600, yeah, a 600 costs about double. So it's cheaper to buy, cheaper to fuel, and by all rights, these bikes are cheaper to insure. And I would say let's just forget about the price thing, but that's part of owning a motorcycle. You can't just ignore that. A 600 and a 650 and a leader bike for that matter, all these motorcycles, the ones that I'm talking about, the three types, they're about the same 0 to 60. They're about the same. If you want to be an elitist and go 1,000 faster, well, yeah, it technically is faster, but they're about the same. They're comparable to each other off a line. Where they start to become different is at top speed. So a 650 and a 600. So 650's top speed is about, I'm averaging all types of 650s, or like the FZ07 and stuff. They're about 120. It's either a tornado siren or a drilling. Sorry about that noise, but the 650s max out at about 120. 600s are about 160, and then leader bikes go to 180. They can even go to 200. So that's about where they differ. Maybe you're trying to save every penny when you're trying to buy a new motorcycle, and you're going to decide that spending twice as much to go 20 or 40 miles an hour faster between 120 and 160 just isn't worth it to you. Because I love going fast. That's one of the joys of owning a motorcycle, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I have no intention of going that fast. Why would I need that power? Now, that was a track bike. That's a different machine. That's a different utility. How I use this motorcycle is around town, put my cruise control on, and I hand out spam cards. And I go around town and I can decelerate, and then, like, that's the other thing. I talked about this a lot when I had the R6. I kept talking about how I missed my 650 and how I loved exploring neighborhoods, because this thing, like the 600 and especially a liter bike, you get punished for going slowly. They want you to go fast, and if you're just cruising around a neighborhood and going around cul-de-sacs and stuff, it's kind of a chore and your legs get cramped. This bike is so much more comfortable. It wants you to, like, this bike, and I'm going to another topic now, another plus about it. I'm all over the place, I'm sorry, but another reason this bike is so great is off the line, especially now that it's geared and tuned. Off the line, it's as good as, if not better than, a stock 600 off the line 0 to 60. It'll beat it. And that's the range I drive in, is 0 to 60. Try sitting like this around town for hours. It's not as fun as it sounds. Yes, you look awesome. But if you're driving around town hours a day like I do, you can get sick of it. And if you've been on a 650, you know what you're missing. And I don't regret it. I don't regret having this bike. My only regret, I mentioned this, and this should go without saying, I wish I could just keep every motorcycle I've ever owned. I wish I could just have all the vehicles. I can't. I financially just can't own several motorcycles. Maybe one day I'll have the option to have this, which, by the way, I never want to sell this one. That's a tornado alarm. That's what's going on. I usually sell a bike every year and get a different one. This one I want to keep. I want to keep this one forever, and maybe I'll get lucky. I see, look, no death wobble. Sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't, regardless of what bike on. I don't know what causes that, but oh wait, it's Wednesday and 11 a.m. That's why it's time for the alarms to go off. I was like, I thought they were testing alarms. On the first Wednesday of every month at 11 a.m. they test all the tornado sirens. So that's what's going on. I forgot what I was talking about. Sorry guys, I'm gonna watch the video as I'm editing it, and I'll be like, oh yeah, well duh, I was talking about that. Hopefully I remember later, but I'm gonna go on to something else now. I enjoy myself more when I'm riding, when I'm comfortable. That's not to say I didn't enjoy myself on the R6, but I'm genuinely more happy on this motorcycle. And if you're someone who likes to be on a Grom or a liter bike, I do not care. That is up to you. You do what makes you happy. Which, by the way, I think I remember what I was talking about. I was talking about how maybe one day I'll be able to afford two motorcycles, in which case I'd like to have this one and a liter bike. I'll have dual purpose motorcycles. That's what I was saying there, which leads to another little observation. This bike is the best, I think, all around. Like, if you want to hit every aspect and utility of the different ranges of motorcycle, a 250 to a liter bike, this one hits most of the spots. This one's good around town. It goes fast. It can keep up with 600s. It can keep up. The only reason this bike, okay, let's find some cons about this bike. The cons: you can't keep up with 600s and liter bikes that are going 120 plus. Dang, what a drag. All the times I do that, I wish I had a faster motorcycle. That's a con. It doesn't look as good. That's a legit con. I really care about how the way things look. I think my R6 was the best looking bike I've ever owned. Freaking looked awesome. So that's an opinion, of course. It's all subjective, but this bike just doesn't look as good as the R6. So that's a con. And then there's only one other reason I can think of, which I kind of hate to list as a reason, but I guess I'm just grabbing for reasons this bike is bad or there's cons about it, and that is what you call that street cred. People are like, excuse me, they're like, oh, you just have a 650. Oh, that's a weak bike. You're like, oh no, if you really care about what people think about you, especially people who don't respect your individuality and your preferences, then dang, that's a con, bro. I'm done, like, defending my choice. I mean, I think the reasons are pretty simple. You can do whatever you want. It's pretty simple. Now, if you're somebody who's watching this video who, let me go to 100 first. I did not start well. Here we go. Bad. But whatever, you get the point. If you're someone who's watching this video because, you know, you're intrigued, well, why would you get a 650 instead of the 600, and you're someone who's like trying to decide for yourself? If you've never owned either, and if you're a beginner rider, anyone's going to tell you don't start on a 600 if you've never been on a bike before. It's too powerful. You can do whatever you want, but if you're looking for advice, I would tell you don't start on a 600, start on a 650. Now, if you're someone who genuinely doesn't know which one to own. Like, you ride motorcycles and you're just interested in my opinion, because that's all this is, by the way, is opinion. If you're just interested in what my opinion is, well, you ask yourself some of those questions, like how fast do you want to go? What kind of riding do you do? Are you someone who happens to live at the tail of the Dragon in North Carolina, excuse me, and you just like going on twisties? Well, you know what? You're probably going to get a lot more fun and use out of the 600. Do you commute on the highway for an hour every morning? Bro, try the 600. Do you ride around town for hours a day like I do? You might like the 650. Are you 5'6" to 5'10" or 6 foot? This is probably going to be very comfortable for you. Are you over 6'3"? Maybe try the 600. There's a lot of things that come into what makes a bike good for you. That's one reason I love motorcycles. I love uniqueness, and bikes on their own are already unique in a traffic crowd like this. There's no other motorcycles out here. That makes you feel special. But even between bikes themselves, there's a lot of different ones, and then you can customize the bike so much. And I just love individuality and uniqueness, and that's one reason why motorcycles are so cool. They're unique to the driver. There's not a better motorcycle. There's a faster motorcycle, objectively. There's not a better one. There's a right one for you, though, and I hope you find it. This bike is good enough that I bought it twice, and that I decided that I wanted this instead of my R6. That's my opinion on the 650. Okay, one last thing before I go. So, Moto Monday is finally coming back. I'm excited about that. So, let's see. It's Friday today. It's going to be finally Friday on this, like normal. And then this coming Monday is going to be the video showing Reed, me, and his brother, and my brother, or his friend, all working on this motorcycle for an evening and doing a lot of the customizations. And then the Monday after that, it's going to be Moto Monday, and Moto Monday is back. We'll be back to Moto Monday and finally Friday. So that's coming soon. I forgot I have paint back here. I got paint in there in my pouch because I'm gonna work with Reed to customize some stuff on my Jeep this weekend, which is gonna be fun, but I'm taking that home to use some paint. Anyway, if you guys are watching this video just because you're curious about the difference between a 650 and a 600, or you're looking at that stuff, I hope this was helpful. Otherwise, I hope you're entertained. I know this isn't a normal video for me. Finally Friday is usually, I mean, I do ramble. That's what Finally Friday is, but this was like a very dedicated topic this time. I'm really excited about this season of riding. I'm really excited that I got this motorcycle, that I'm finally riding, because I've been riding in a while. It's good stuff. I'm happy. I hope you're happy too. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I will see you next week. Bye.